Hey everyone, I'm Sambhav. I'm a Gold Microsoft student partner from Nepal, and I am also a final year computer science undergraduate student at Tribhuvan University. So I'm also a co-founder at Nepal Learns Code, which is basically a platform to provide video tutorials for Nepali students so that they can learn about tech. I'm someone who loves to teach students about tech, and that's why I'm super excited to be with all of you here in this session, and I can't wait to get started. So let's move on. Yeah. So to get started, we want to go to MakeCode.com, and you'll see lots and lots of different options right here, like Microbit, Minecraft, Arcade. We simply want to go to Arcade for our session. So simply click on Arcade, and this page would show up. So we have our MakeCode Arcade homepage where we can, create new projects from scratch. We can if you are a beginner, you can simply go to these step-by-step tutorials, and there are lots and lots of example games that you can try and you can learn from. In this demo, we'll actually be modding a game. We'll be adding some changes to a game. So for that, you might want to have a look of that import button. And if you want to follow along, simply go to makecode.com. So in this demo, we want to mod this game. We want to add some changes to this game. It's called Eat the Fruit. And this is kind of a simple game where we have this opportunity to eat fruits. All right. So in order to import that project, simply click on import, and this prompt would show where you can click on import URL, and our moderator will be sharing the URL on the chat. If you want to get started right now, you can simply copy and paste the URL right there and click on go ahead. So this is the game that will be modding. So yeah, so after you click on go ahead, this window will show. So this is basically our MakeCode Arcade editor. You might want to make sure this JavaScript is clicked. So please make sure you click right here on JavaScript so that we can see our code, we can see our game emulator, and we can see all the controls, download button, and everything else. So at this moment, let's dive right in to our MakeCode editor. So first, have a look at what our game looks like. So it's a simple game where we can eat fruits, and our score is getting increased. So we have to do this within 10 seconds. So this is a simple game, but we would want to add lots and lots of changes in it. So first, let's look at the layout of the code that we have here. So let's first look at, so in all these kinds of arcade 2D games, there are something called sprite. So what's a sprite? In that game, we saw the fruits and this character. So anything any icon or image, that's basically called a sprite. So we can find lots and lots of sprites in our code. So make sure you know about what a sprite is. And we want to look into functions. So there are lots and lots of functions used here. So let's simply look. Yeah, here's the set background color function. So this allows you to set there are almost 16 choices, and you can simply let me hit 9, and this will select blue. I know that because you can always find what color it is from this drop down. So as you can see, there's color 9, and I'm using the color 9 for blue. So yeah, we have our background changed to blue. We also have this controller.move sprite, my sprite. So yeah, what my sprite in this game is our character. So the character we are able to move. So this character is our my sprite, and all these fruits are our projectiles. So what does this line of code do? This simply allows us to move our sprite using our controller given here, or we can also use our keyboard to do it. So we have this set flag stain my sprite.set flags stain screen line. So I don't want to go into deep what flags mean, but simply to understand this line of code does not allow our character to go out of the screen. So that's pretty handy. And we have we have something called event blocks. So we have on overlap block, so which basically whenever a player overlaps with a food, we have this function. So let's have a quick look. So we have this function which runs this is the function which runs and allows us to have certain change on certain condition. We also have this sort of on update interval block, which will basically this function will be running every 500 millisecond our game is live. So we can also declare our we can also declare our variables or objects. So this projectile is an object, and we will be declaring variables later in this demo. So we can declare these with let. And the other thing I want to show you is these velocities. So this is the Vx and this is Vy. So one thing, our arcade screen is 160 pixels wide and 120 pixels high. So this velocity is simply in x direction. So x direction is simply the horizontal direction and y is simply the vertical direction. And our coordinates start here at this at the top left would be 0, 0, and at the bottom right would be 160, 120. So just getting to know about the screen we have. If we have x velocity set to certain number and y is set to 0, it basically moves only in the x-axis, which is the horizontal axis. So I'm not very happy with this game. Let's have more changes. So what I want to do is I don't like this countdown, so I'm simply going to remove it. I'm going to write info. I want to set some lives. So let's write 5. So here I'm setting lives. So as you can see on the top left, we have set this life here to 5. So we have 5 lives for our character. So that's pretty cool, right? Like one line and you have 5 lives. That's awesome. So what we want to do next is we want to add choice to our fruit. So as you can see, this entire block of code, this is what is used to generate our fruits. Let's simply first cut all of this out and paste it outside. We will be so as you can see on the expanded version, it looks just like what it looks here on the canvas where we can draw. And yeah, this is a strawberry. So we don't want just strawberry for ourselves. So let's quickly create a variable called fruit choice, and I want to make it equal to 0. I'm simply declaring it here. I'm going to refer to what we've created here, inside this on update block. So we want to have the fruit choice to be set to some random variable. So to do that, you simply type in math.randomRange. So what this does, let me simply write in 2. So what this basically does is I'm going to comment here. So it selects any random number from 0 to 2. So it's either 0 or 1 or 2. It selects anything random from here and stores it into our fruit choice variable, so that we can have a choice of 3 fruits in this game. So let's quickly set up something which decides which fruit we're going to choose according to our random function. So let's simply write if. So this is a if condition. So if our fruit choice will be equal to 0, so fruit choice can either be 0 or 1 or 2. So if fruit choice is 0, what we want to do is we simply want to open and close brackets. So whatever we write in here will be running whenever fruit choice is 0. And what we want to do when fruit choice is 0, we want to simply create some fruit. So let's simply write, we already have initialized our projectile as a sprite here. So just like the our previous game, we simply will write the entire code once again, create projectile from side, and after that we can have this image and 0 and 0. So image is basically after you do 2 backticks, you can simply select what your image looks like. And in our case, yeah, we have this 50 and 0. So we already have 50 as our horizontal velocity, and we don't want any vertical velocity for our for the fruits we're going to have. So if fruit choice is 0, we want to have that. So we simply want to copy this once again and kind of paste it. So if fruit is not 0, so how do we do that? We simply write else if fruit choice is equal to 1. We want to create another projectile. We have not made anything in this projectile yet. We'll do that later. And we simply want to paste that code once again, and we simply want to like replace all of this and write else. So why am I writing else? So there are only three probabilities for this value to be. So if it's 0, this is gonna run. If it's 1, this is gonna run. Else, so else is certainly it's 2. So this line of code is going to run. So let's quickly give our sprites some pictures. So simply click on that, and we can also draw something by ourselves, but I'm not a good artist. So simply let's go to gallery. And what I want to do is I want to select apples for our first fruit. And yeah, so you can see it simply shows. So if you click on minus, you can hide it. And if you click on plus, you can see that once again. Let's simply write in apples so that we can later on know without maximizing all of that. Let's select some strawberries here at the second one. So yeah, let's once again minimize that and write strawberries. All right, and in the third option, let's simply select cherries. All right, so as you might have seen, we have created three different fruits. They kind of look just like what we selected, and let's write in cherries. So notice one thing, I'm writing this as comment. So this is something that your that will just be for you and other programmers to read. It's going to be ignored by our game. So it won't show or have any effect in our game. So as we have replaced this, only one option with three different options. So let's give, so this entire block of code till now, this will choose a random fruit for us. Now what we want to have is we simply want to give our projectile. Projectile is our fruit once again, just to make things clear. We want to go to set position, and we want to have it similar to what lies previously in our game. So simply go to random range. Yeah, after I do random range, let's simply select 0, 120, because we want it to come somewhere from here to here, and having the value of x0 means it spawns from the left. All right, so we have that done, and let's once again, just like our previous game, let's do projectile dot set kind. So what set kind does is it's simply there can be different kinds of sprites. Like some can be food, some can be fire, some can be a player, so that we can get to know what happens when a kind of sprite collides with other. So as we can see, this is of sprite kind food, projectile is of sprite food, and our player is there. So if player overlaps with food, we have these things that are gonna happen. So we are setting our kind just like that. Let's see what our game looks like right now. Yeah, so with 1 or 2 minutes of coding, I have made this game from strawberry to fruity. It's like spawning lots and lots of different fruits. I love this. Yeah, so but this game is too good to be true, right? You don't get fruits only fruits in life. You have to have some sort of enemies as well. Let's quickly do that. Let's quickly to create enemies. Let's first declare one. Let's write projectile 2. Let's have our enemy be called projectile 2 in this game, and let's simply I want to spawn an enemy every at every second. So let's write game dot on update interval, just like this, and this will be preloaded. What we want to write is we want to write 1000, because 1000 milliseconds is 1 second. And what is it that we want in our function? We want our projectile 2 to be first created just like this. We want to write in sprites dot create projectile from side, and we want to do the backticks once again. And I don't want my enemy to come from left side. I want it to come from right side, right to left. So I'm going to give it -50, which basically means it moves from right to left. So after doing that, let's simply go to projectile 2 once again, and we want to call a method here, just like we did with other projectiles. We want to set our position to this one as well. Let's simply write set position. And for this, like I want to write for the value of x, I'm going to write 160 because it's like this is 0 and this is 160 for x. So I'm writing 160. And for y, which is the vertical, I want it to spawn randomly here as well. So just like what we did here, we can simply copy and paste this block as well. Yeah, let me do that real quick. Yeah, so we've copied and pasted that block, and we want to set this projectile to so we want to set its kind to let's set it to sprite kind dot enemy. Yeah, these are the like pre-existing kinds. So what do we want our enemy to be? Do we want it to be some lava or something? No, it's a very like fun game. Let's add some enemies here. Okay, let's go with cake. Let's go with cake. I love cake, but for the sake of this game, I'm putting my cake as my enemy. Okay, let's see. Let's see if our like yeah. So our cake is like kind of spawning from the right, and we have added an enemy. So I I think I'll regret doing this, but like yeah, the cakes are our enemy. Like you wrote 3 to 4 lines of code, and cakes are enemies now. That's the power of code. See, yeah. So as we can see, yeah, we can play this game. Like we are getting our points and everything, but whenever we eat our cake, nothing is happening. So we want to change that. How do we do it? We simply like write another on overlap block. Like I don't want to type it all. I simply want to copy and paste. That's really fun. Let's paste it. Here it's for player and food. I want to do it for player and yeah, you guessed it correct, enemy. Yeah, we're doing it for players and enemies. So have you ever seen a game where whenever you like get hit by an enemy, your score increases? No, that never happens. So I'm going to remove this thing and I'm going to write change. I want to decrease my life. So change life by -1. So this is what MakeCode does. It basically predicts that you're going to change life by 1 whenever your enemy is like enemy hits you. So yeah, we are, as you can see in the top left, as we eat our cakes, yeah, our life is getting decreased. Ouch. So and another thing, like we can see here, it's like making hearts when we eat. We don't want that. When our like life is getting decreased, we don't want hearts. We want something like ashes. There are lots of like effects. If you want to see, simply click dot effects dot, and you'll see all of these. For this demo, I'll use ashes, and I don't want this sound to play. I'm like turning the sound off for this demo, but if you want to hear to what this sounds like, how these sound like, you can simply like do it yourself, which I highly encourage you to do. Yeah, we have ashes, so our cakes are like being turned into ashes, and our hearts are breaking just like that. Yeah, so this basically sums up our game. Do we want to add something? Yes, of course we do. Like notice how this game like starts just like that. I don't want to do that. Like I want to convey some message from our game. Like okay, like a get started thing or something. Simply type in game.splash, and you can type in any message that you want to show. So for instance, I'll write MS build is amazing, or 1G. Okay, and if you do that, like you will get one line. If you want to add another line, please don't eat cakes. Yeah, that's gonna be our message. Okay, yeah, you can see at the start, you can see MS build is amazing and please don't eat cakes. So this is what our game basically looks like. So in this, like in like 10 to 15 minutes, we were able to do so many stuff just by writing some lines of code and almost copy and paste, like doing copy and paste for almost all the time. So like this is what our game like typically looks like right now. So after we're done doing this, we simply want to go to share so that everyone in the world can see. I want to say MS build demo, don't eat cakes. Once again, that's the name of my game. All right, you can like record a GIF where you can see how your game runs like. And yeah, so that's recorded, and you can see how your GIF looks like right here. Yeah, so after you do that, you simply want to click on publish your project, and you can share it to, after you do that, you'll get a prompt to, yeah, you can share it on your Facebook, Twitter, on forums, or you can simply copy the code and like send it to anyone from email or everything. And if you want to play on mobile, simply scan this code right here. So we've done doing that. So there are some really cool arcade hardwares where you can like try and play out the games we just created. So you want to like play games that other people have created, like you can obviously do that with this, and you can also create your games and play on these cool hardware. Right? And you can also create these arcade cabinets. You want to go to MakeCode.com, and you can see and find these tutorials on how you can create these sort of arcade cabinets, like retro-like arcade cabinets. Here are some resources like from MakeCode, like if you want to go and learn about it. All of these will be posted in the chat by our moderators, and we have our links. So yeah, you want to go to these links to access forum, where you can ask questions, the arcade curriculum, and all of these amazing links to get you started with MakeCode. Yeah, so that's pretty much about my demo and session. So if you want to get connected with me, I'm available on Twitter and LinkedIn. And if you want, like if this session was quite like fast for you, you can simply go to my YouTube channel. You want to screenshot this like window, and you want to go to my YouTube channel. I create basic MakeCode content on blocks in JavaScript, and I am planning to do so for quite a long amount of time. So you want to like follow me on YouTube as well if you want to learn more from me. Yeah. So this is what I basically do. I get involved in community quite a lot. So like yeah, that's something I've been doing. This on the left is a workshop I hosted in my college, and like on the top right, it's me in Sydney on Imagine Cup Regional Finals and MSP Summit. And this is on the bottom right is when I was a part of Microsoft Envision Forum organizing team as a volunteer. So yeah, I simply want to take back to this slide, and like if we have any sort of questions, I'd love to answer them.
Right. Thank you so much, Sambo, for that. We have a few questions here, and we have a couple of minutes for Q&A. There is a question coming through here on hardware, and it's asking, how do I put this code on an SD card?
Yeah. On an SD card, is it?
So the question reads the following: how do I put the games on the hardware? Are these internet connected devices, or can you download the code and put it on an SD card?
Yeah, so I'm taking you to my screen once again. If you like, you can see this download option. Like you can choose the hardware, and like once you do that, you have lots of options. So whichever hardware you have, you can simply download a version of your game which can run in these awesome hardware. Yeah, that's how we do it.
Cool. So someone here is asking for a link to your finished code. Would they just need to follow the link here on top to your session, or do you have a separate place where the finished code is?
Yeah, so this finished code, you can always access it. Okay, let me share this, like show this once again. You can simply click on publish. So you have this code right here. Like, yeah, you have this. You want to screenshot this, or I'll share it on Twitter right after this session, so you can find it there as well. Or you can simply screenshot this and like, or even scan this QR code by like taking a screenshot. So this is the code I've done.
We had an earlier question here about Android and iOS, and whether it's possible to make games in MakeCode that would run on an Android or iOS.
I don't think they would run in Android and iOS as native applications, but you can always like once again, you can always scan these QR codes, and you can play it on the browser full screen. So it's basically you can play it on any mobile device. Once you scan this QR code, you'll be able to play it in any mobile device. So let me zoom in. Yeah, this is the code, and this is the QR. Yeah, you can do it that way.
Okay, so here's a question on when you publish a project, can you make it private and only people with a link can view it?
Yeah, like if if you don't share it anywhere, it will be like basically it will be private to you, and you can simply share this link, copy and paste this link and share it to whoever might want to see. So yeah, it's very simple. If you don't share it on your social media or anything, it's kind of like a private for you yourself.
And here's a question from me. How come that cake is the enemy?
Basically, I don't know. I simply clicked on the cake. I felt like doing so. For I don't know. Like I think it's because it's lockdown and I don't have I have not eaten cakes for more than 60 days. So yeah, the cakes are my enemy right now. I don't know. Yeah. Any more questions, Chris?
I just want to make sure I got the correct resources links. It's pretty much everything on your links slide, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm gonna be posting this here. And there, folks, now you have a bunch of links to MakeCode, editors, buying hardware for this, because, well, there's a lot of hardware being supported when working with MakeCode.
Yeah. I want to add something here as well. Like, if you followed through this entire session and if you found this like amazing, I don't know, but like if you want to like let me try and play this, I would love to do it. You can simply share your the games you built using MSBuild, hashtag MSBuild and hashtag MakeCode on Twitter, and I would love to see if you've if you can always tag me in there as well, and I'd love to check out your games and give you feedback if you want. So yeah.
We have a question here. Are you able to show them where you declare projectile 2? I think they missed that part in the code.
Okay. I'm going to show that real quick. Here we have let projectile 2 is an object like sprite with a value of null. So we have declared it here and referred it here. So we have given it an image right here. So yeah, that's where I did it. Oh, not there. Here.
Right. Perfect. I hope you're helped who typed that question.
Yeah. So do we want to like continue with the closing slide, or do we have any other questions?
I think we answered most. Someone had the problem with getting the palette to show. Are you able to show how you get the palette up and running?
Yeah, if you like have any sort of this sprite when you give a variable or an object a sprite, you can simply like if you don't have this backticks on your image, so you don't get the palette. Let me do that real, or like yeah, if you don't have these like right after your image, you'll not see this. You can also follow that. I've created a video where I specifically talk about this on my YouTube channel, so you can simply go there and see as well. So yeah, that's pretty much about the palette.
You have quite a few videos about MakeCode on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, it's about more than 1 hour 10 minutes of content yet. I'm like those were made 5 to 6 days in 5 to 6 days span. I'm like planning to do a lot of games now. I'm like super pumped about MakeCode. I love MakeCode, and like it's super fun, it's super easy, and it's amazing simply. Yeah. So I want to go to this slide. Yeah. So I showed you my picture. Now I want to talk about Microsoft Student Learn Ambassadors. So this is something you can also be a part of if you if you get selected into Microsoft Student Learn Ambassador. And I would love to see all of you apply to the program. And you can also check out Imagine Cup if you are a junior student. If you are even if you are a junior, you can check out Imagine Cup Junior. Even if you are an educator, you all can be a part of Imagine Cup. And we have Azure for Students offer. You can if you want to learn about cloud computing and like all of that, you simply go here. And we appreciate your perspective. So if you we always want to create and have these sessions better every time. So please make sure to use this code and fill this survey out. This will really help all of us to come up with amazing content in the future. And you might want to check all these student resources at the links, which will all be provided in the chat. So yeah, that's all about it. Make sure you apply for the Student Learn Ambassadors.
There's no more questions. I think we are out of time.
Okay. Thank you so much for everyone for watching. Yeah. I'm very happy that I was able to have this opportunity. Thanks.